discuss the second read of John F. Kennedy and Reagan's speech, John F. Kennedy's speech at Berlin Wall and Reagan's speech at Brandenburg's Gate. We share our PowerPoint here. We were talking about how does Kennedy refute the argument in favor of communism, and he said that he pointed at the Berlin Wall and he said, for communists or people who support communism, come to Berlin, see the Berlin Wall. It locks its citizens in to prevent them from escaping, and escaping citizens' desire to escape means the failure of communism. Question number 3. Okay, question number 3. Who didn't answer with me today? Serena.
Yes, teacher.
Did you hear me last period?
Yes. Yes. Who says? Who's talking?
Arwa, I'm asking, did you hear
Yes,
me
yes, I
last
told
period?
you Arwa Mahmoud Harir.
I was talking, but you didn't.
Miss Nada,
Yes, Lee.
teacher, are you sharing your screen?
Yes, I shared it now.
Teacher, I can't see. I'll go out and come back.
Share it, dear. Okay, so I said who will answer? Serena.
Me.
Yes, read question.
What emotional charged language does Kennedy use to address the counterclaim? Write at least 3 emotionally charged words or phrases.
Emotionally charged language, it means language. Loaded. Loaded, يعني the word itself shows that this is bad.
Yeah.
The word itself shows that he is opposing this idea. How did he use to address the counterclaim of people who support communism? How did he
When
support?
they say let them come into Berlin.
Yeah, yes, but let them come into Berlin. If I say to you, يعني, good morning, Sarah, Serena, let's go to
No,
Berlin.
they said it يعني in exclamatory يعني way.
What? No, I want the words that itself show that the counterclaim is refuted, is being refuted.
Wait.
Yeah.
Miss, what do
Words,
you mean?
words that if you say these words alone, you understand that you are opposing the idea.
When he said that about the democracy?
What about democracy? Huh? Here,
When he said that...
no, leave democracy now. Now he talks about people who support communism. He said, what about communism to show them that this is not a good system?
Miss, he didn't oppose, يعني he opposed communism. When he said like people are locked inside the walls.
Excellent. When he said, look, dear, when he said people are besieged country, come to the besieged country. Besieged is surrounded country. Besiege is not surrounded by good meanings, surrounded by enemies or surrounded by attacking.
Yes, it means when like people are like blocked inside.
Excellent. So the word besiege here is a charged language, is loaded word. I want similar words like this.
Miss, from only Kennedy's one, right?
Yes, from only Kennedy. About the wall.
And we take no satisfaction in it.
We take no satisfaction on it. Okay, give me another one.
Wait. Miss, can I give you the number, the line number?
No, say it so to me because.
Okay, wait. Miss, this word he said in German, maybe?
طب what does the Berlin Wall make? It separates.
It separates it separates them as a Cold War. It means يعني it separates the two
Separates
countries.
people. Separates Berliner.
It's husbands and wives.
Yeah.
Excellent. Separates husbands and wives. Excellent. It separates families. Excellent. Excellent team. So read it, Serena.
Kennedy uses words like besieged, vitality, determination, and humanity as an offense against humanity.
When he said
Separating
it is an offense against humanity.
separating families, dividing husbands and wives and brothers and sisters, and dividing people who wish to be joined.
من 5 شهور 6 شهور كانوا طالعين برزاق
بتول
Join together.
مايك
بالسيارة
بتول.
ما كنت متفقة أصلا.
So the only time I hear Batul's voice in the class is when she is not talking in the class. Okay. Again, charged language is when the word itself, when I say this word, you understand this is not a good idea, even if it's away of the claims of the argument itself. So when we say besiege, I understand that's not good. Against humanity, okay? Separating families, dividing husbands and wives and brothers and sisters, dividing people you wish to be joined together, okay? These are charged words. Question number 4, Noor. Noor?
Yes, miss.
Yes.
What is the effect on his argument of the emotional language Kendi uses?
Yes. What is the effect on his argument of the emotional language? He used emotional language. He used pathos. The usage of pathos is to affect the feelings and hearts of the listeners or readers. Why he used it? Why he used emotional language?
So it affects the emotions of the reader.
Excellent. Affects the minds of the reader. Excellent. Convince them more. By using emotional appeal, convince them more. Excellent, dear. Because it is against humanity. Right?
Yes.
Read it, يا نور.
مستدى I'm so sorry بس والله العظيم كان مايك معلق ماما كانت بتحكيني على الواتس فأنا كتير أهسوة. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, Batul, it is the only time I hear your voice in a class and I was so happy to hear it, but not sharing with me.
بس أنا أحيانًا ما بقدر أفتح المايك يعني أبدأ شوي الصبح على آخر لحظة قدرت أفتح المايك لما مستر كانت تناديني مثل هلا مستر أنا كان حاططني لسه بالويتنج يعني لا عم بقدر أسمع صوتك لو ما شفت البنات منشنيني على الواتس ما كنت عرفانة يعني ما بقدر أسمع صوتك ولا عم أقدر أدخل على الحصة كان عاطيني لسه إنه أنا لسه بالويتنج area.
Okay, Batul. How's your health now, Batul?
نعم.
How is your health?
I know, I'm good, thank you.
Alhamdulillah. Okay, Noor. Read it.
Using emotional language makes Kendi's argument more effective because it plays to the humanity in the listener.
Yes. We come to question 5. Sarah?
Yes, miss.
Yes.
How does Reagan address Khrushchev's claim, we will burn you?
Yes. Reagan, at the beginning of his speech, he said that years before, Khrushchev's claim, he said to, when it was divided between the communists and the capitalists, which is Soviet Union and United States, The leader of Soviet Union said, "We will bury you. We will bury you, American States, or the capitalism. We will bury the other side." Did he succeed in that, Yasara?
No, he failed.
He failed. How did he fail?
He fails to point out.
Reagan pointed out some points to show the failure of the communism. What were,
the communists?
Yes, what were the evidence of communism's failure? Tell me one. And Tia, you will tell me a second one.
It's ironic because now the West is prosperous, but you won't.
I don't understand you, sir. Again, Reagan said that Khrushchev said to them, "We will bury you." Communism said that they will bury the other side. They didn't, and it is a sign of their failure. He gave another sign of the failure of communism. Reagan, what was it? You will find it on page 330. Line 20. In line 20.
Yeah. 313, are you sure?
Line 20 and page 330.
330, okay. I'll read it now. In the communism world, we see failure, technological backwardness, declining standards of health, even want of the most basic kind, too little food.
Okay, so Tia, what are the things Reagan said that shows the failure of communism? Tia?
Yes, miss.
Again, what are the
Yes,
points
miss,
that Reagan,
Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm here, miss.
Okay, say answer.
How does Reagan address?
No, answer which points Reagan mentioned in order to show the failure of communism. Sarah has just read it, Tia. Sarah has just read it.
That it's like they're explaining that it's ironic.
What is ironic, Tia? Sarah has just read the lines 20 and page 330.
That in the communist world, we see failure, technological backwardness, declining standards of health, even want of the most basic kind, too little food.
Yes, so what are evidence that communism is not good? It is failing.
That when they said that there's too little food, technological backwardness.
Yes, technological backwardness, failure, declined standards of health,
and too little food.
And too little food. Soviet Union cannot feed themselves. Okay, Tia. Read it, Yasara.
The sentence again. Region points out how communism has failed by every conceivable measure of society.
And what are the measures of society, which is food, education, and health? No food. Soviet Union cannot feed itself. Too little food. Technological backwardness. Declining standard of health. So these are the 3 points for any society. Okay, I'd like to show you listeners again, because I don't know what today you are not with me, so I will repeat it quickly.
Miss, you never asked me questions today.
Your name, dear?
Lujane.
Lujane, I asked you. Are you sure?
No, I was present this whole time and I was answering them on my own, but you never picked me. But
I'm sorry,
fine.
Lujan. I said your name, by the way. In the previous period, I said your name, Lujan.
Oh.
I'm sorry, Lujan. So can we, while we revise now, can you help me?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so please here, in question number 1, can you say it in your own words?
Yes. His claim was that the communist system is an evil one, and it's unusual the way he makes it because, wait, hold on. The way he makes his claim, the way he's trying to prove it, he's asking people to come to Berlin to see for themselves how bad it is.
Yes, excellent, dear. Read it.
He claims that communism is very bad. He does so by putting forward the arguments that are in favor of communism and simply saying, let them come to Berlin. The implication is that they will see that they are wrong. However, he never says that directly.
Yes, he never said that directly. He said, let them come to Berlin, those who say that. Question number 2, Lujan. How did he say democracy? Why did he say democracy is not perfect?
He wants to recognize that both democracy and communism have their own flaws, but democracy has a little less flaws, so it's better than communism.
Yes, it is a kind of mentioning the counterclaim.
Yeah, he is acknowledging a counterclaim.
Yes. Then, how does Kennedy prove the claim that democracy is better than communism?
He says that we have never had to put a wall up to keep our people in, to prevent them from leaving us.
Excellent, dear. Excellent.
Yeah.
Question 4, rhetorical similarities. This is the question that Dima answered. Rhetorical similarities between Kennedy and Reagan. A technique which was used in both.
The main one in Kennedy's speech is let them come to Berlin. He repeats that multiple times. And in Reagan's speech, I think it was something freedom. He repeats the word freedom multiple times.
Here, when he said yes, John F. Kennedy let them come to Berlin, and Reagan, freedom leads to prosperity. Freedom replaces the ancient rights among the nations with comity and peace. Freedom is the vector. Freedom, freedom, freedom. Anaphora, and let them come to Berlin. Then we move to the counterclaim, which is to oppose the claim. Okay? And then in which sentence does Kennedy's speech address a counterclaim or an argument to support the communism? What is that counterclaim? Kennedy's counterclaim. We've just said it. It is the same one that we said answered in the question number 1 or 2.
Yeah, that's communism is an evil system.
Yes, and in order to see it yourself,
you have to come to Berlin. Let them come to Berlin.
The repeated sentence, let them come to Berlin, is a refutation of the counterclaim that communism might not be so bad. Number 2, how does Kennedy refute the argument in favor of communism when he said that the wall, pointing to the Berlin Wall, that the purpose of which is to keep communist citizens in, is an evidence that they want to escape it, which is an evidence of its failure. 3, what emotional charge language, I will say it here, besiege, vitality, determination, humanity, offense against humanity, separating families, dividing husbands and wives and brothers and sisters, dividing people who wish to be joined together. The last question, or no, still have one. What is the effect of his argument on emotional language, Lujain? Why he used emotional language?
He wants people to look at the situation in a more humanitarian way if logic didn't work with them.
Excellent.
So he tries to reach to their hearts in some way and show them that this is bad.
Because humanity is paths. Language makes Kennedy's argument more effective. It plays on humanity in the listener. Last question, how does Reagan address Karsh's claim, we will bury you? It chose what? When he said we will bury you.
How did he address it? No, I think it was ironic, honestly, when he said we will bury you, because the West ended up being a prosperous place and the communist system was declining.
Excellent.
Like he said in
It's a sign of the
in
failure,
technology.
a sign of communist failure, and for any aspect of society. And what are the aspects to measure the society? Health, education, and I've just said it. When it is written in line 20, health, education, and food. So in Soviet Union, they cannot feed themselves. Education, technology backwardness, and health, no health insurance. Okay? Okay. Thank you, Lujane, for helping me. Are you with me?
Yes, did we finish?
Yes, let's.
No, I will show you a video.
Oh, okay.
I didn't share the voice. I'll share it again.
In this episode of The Speaker's Life, I'm going to be traveling to Berlin, Germany, and sharing with you some insights I found from visiting a site of a very, very famous speech. Enjoy this episode. Hey there, it's James Taylor here, keynote speaker on creativity, innovation, and artificial intelligence, and the founder of Speakers U. Today, I'm in Berlin, Germany, and I'm on the site of a very famous speech that happened here on the 26th of June, 1964. It was by the President John F. Kennedy of the United States. He gave a speech here, the famous Ich bin ein Berliner speech. Now, here's an interesting thing about that speech. Actually, there's a number of interesting points. The first one was that Ich bin ein Berliner has a funny connotation here as well, because there's also a donut, a jam donut here called a Berliner. So initially when some of the audience heard him, then they said, when he said, Ich bin ein Berliner, I am a Berliner, some of them thought, I am a donut. So that's the first kind of slightly unusual one. But the main thing I wanted to get across to you was that the speech that he gave, the Ich bin ein Berliner, it actually had a germination about a year earlier of a speech that he gave in New Orleans, in Louisiana, in the United States. On that speech, he actually said a phrase which he said, the greatest thing someone could say 2,000 years ago was, I am a Roman citizen. Because it meant that that person could travel around the world. There was a sense of freedom that the Roman citizen had 2,000 years ago. When he came and delivered the speech here a year later, he starts off his speech by saying, 2,000 years ago, the greatest thing that someone could say was that I am a Roman citizen. And he actually said it in Latin as well. And then he used that to link on to what he really wanted to say was the greatest thing that someone can say today, to have a sense of freedom, to live a life of freedom, is Ich bin ein Berliner. I'm a Berliner, which basically related to everything that was going on here during the Cold War, where on one side, on the east side, they had less democratic, they didn't have the same amount of freedoms as the people on the west side. Now, there's another interesting thing about the speech he gave, and I'll put a link here so you can actually watch the speech itself that he gave here on these steps in Berlin, was if you watch that speech, it was not the speech that he wrote that he ended up giving, because when he came here, there was 350,000 people standing here waiting to hear him speak. So he quickly figured out the speech that he'd actually written wasn't quite appropriate. Also, he had a translator, the mayor that was going to be translating for him. So he was going to be speaking a little bit and then the translator would translate. So he suddenly figured out this is not going to work. So he improvised, like any good speaker would do. When you come in and the audience is slightly different from what you're thinking that they're going to be, he would improvise. Later that day, he actually gave the speech that had been written inside in another building not far from here as well. So being able to improvise is a great skill that any speaker should have. Also, saying that phrase, something in the local language, always endears you to an audience. And the third point that's really cool about that speech, watch the speech, watch how he uses timing, watch how he uses pauses, both before he says an important line and then after he delivers an important line. He was one of the great speakers for using timing. He had that very distinctive Bostonian accent as well. So here from Berlin in Germany. Check out the speech. I wish you, everyone that's watching this just now, if you're a speaker or aspiring speaker, I wish you all the great success with your speaking. Definitely watch JFK's video on the Ich bin ein Berliner speech. And from here in Berlin, my name is James Taylor, keynote speaker on creativity, innovation, and artificial intelligence. I look forward to catching up with you soon. This episode of The Speaker's Life is sponsored by eSpeakers, the innovative platform that connects speakers with...
Okay, girls, he wanted to tell you how was John F. Kennedy a great speech.
يعني بس هلا he changed his speech the last minute.
Yes.
And when he was talking, he started thinking of things to say.
Yes, and
Wow.
then how smart he was, how he stops before a sentence, how he pauses after he says an important sentence, and then later when they went to another place, he said the written speech. But this he has improvised in order to say in front of 300,000 Berliners. How smart was John F. Kennedy? Okay?
Okay.
In a speech, it is very important to pause before you say important sentence and to pause after it in order to grab the attention of the listener. Pausing is very important. And of course, the body language in this. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. So we finished and we continue next time, inshallah.
Okay.
Okay.